Hello and welcome back to Sting Flight. That video was taken with my 4 new Hero 7 black cameras. There's nothing wrong with the video quality, it's very nice. I also like the large LED touchscreen on these cameras and the new and improved and intuitive menus in the cameras, very nice. The best feature of all probably is the video stabilization. It's really effective for that rocking and rolling I get on my wingtip cameras. But on the downside, however, these cameras are stuffed with unnecessary and unneeded features. In that regard, they're much like the 2 GPSs that I have in my airplane. And as a result of all this stuff in here, there are numerous bugs in these cameras. And I would venture to say that without the update, the software update from GoPro, they would be virtually useless. The downside of the cameras is that they require yet another cable if you're going to patch your cockpit audio into the camera for recording. And the final thing that I don't like very well is the 2 doors on the camera, the charging door and the battery door. They're extremely difficult to open with just your thumb. It's highly advised that you get a plastic screen stylus such as this for quickly and easily popping those doors open. But by far the worst problem with these cameras for me was, when I obtained them, the inability to control them all with a single remote control. What I was facing was multiple camera freeze-ups, batteries being drained to 0 in a matter of minutes, and random, often abundant control failures of the signal sent from the remote to the 4 cameras. And I wasn't alone with these problems. The internet is full of similar horror stories. Now, I'm not exactly a rookie at this. I've been controlling multiple GoPro cameras on my airplane with a single remote for more than 9 years without problem or incident. So imagine my surprise when I got these new H7s and could not do the same. And this was despite GoPro's advice online and making sure that I had the latest update. Neither were effective in solving the problems for me. This problem is somehow wrapped up in the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the 8-hour timeout for the Bluetooth, the new camera features that are in here, weak batteries, my airplane structures and instruments, and quite possibly Wi-Fi and Bluetooth interference. But this is mainly a software issue, and it's only going to be resolved eventually by GoPro, if ever. They've been working on it now for over 2 years. So anyway, I decided, since I had already thrown the packaging away and marked up my cameras in different ways, I wasn't going to be able to return them. So I decided to dive into this intensively and develop a workaround. And I worked on this for 3 weeks, testing 3 GoPro remotes. The original Wi-Fi remote by GoPro, GoPro's Wi-Fi smart remote, and I even went so far as to buy a knockoff remote from another one from China with the name SupTig on it. So I tested these 3 remotes intensively. I did at least 2 flights with each remote, running the cameras on my airplane. I did dozens of hours of testing in my living room, and what I came up with was the winner in this contest of remote controls, what for me at least, was the original GoPro Wi-Fi remote. It was slightly better than the smart remote by GoPro, and it outperformed the SupTig. I ended up with about 85 to 95% reliability of the commands sent from here to the cameras, whereas when I started out, And with all these problems I was having, I was only getting maybe 40 to 50% reliability. Now I want to stress that the samples, I'm kind of a scientist, so I want to stress that sample size really involved only one remote of each of those that I just mentioned. So this doesn't have any statistical validity, but I did intensively test each of the 3 remotes. So you'll have to take my results with a grain of salt, and also my results pertain to my carbon fiber and fiberglass airplane, and results may be different on a metal airplane. I didn't go there and attempt any testing, so I'm hoping that you will, and you'll report your comments back in the video comments. Now, a couple of other things I need to stress. This is a line of sight issue. In other words, if you have a clear line of sight from your remote to your camera and the camera's not too far away, you probably won't have a lot of problems, although you'll still have some issues of this failing. The real problem arises when you start having to shoot to your outside cameras on an airplane, and the signal has to go through the airplane structures, and also it's affected by the electronics in the airplane. Now, my workaround for all this to get reasonable effectiveness out of this system is not simple, and it has a lot of components. But you don't need to worry about trying to write them all down when I launch into them in a moment here. Because as all pilots, I love checklists. And so I put this whole system into a checklist, and I put it in the video description where you can retrieve it. And also, to keep this video from becoming too lengthy, I'm not going to, this system involves a lot of settings in the camera, and I'm not going to teach you how to get to those. You'll have to learn that on your own, and it'll be good training for you anyway to learn your camera. Here is a brief summary of my workaround for this problem. You'll find additional detail in my checklist. Number 1, you must update the camera. And it must be a manual update, which means that you download the update onto your camera's micro SD card, insert it in the camera, and run it. Number 2, batteries are the key. Only conduct out-of-camera battery charging, have at least 1 spare battery per camera, and conduct battery training, where you draw the batteries all the way down to 0 and then fully recharge them several times. Number 3, change the Wi-Fi default setting on the camera from 5.0 to 2.4 gigahertz. See the checklist for why. Number 4, ditch all the battery drainers. That means you turn these off. GPS, voice control, quick capture, LEDs, and the gyros. You turn the gyros off by locking the landscape feature either up or down. Number 5, adjust other battery drainers as well. Beep volume should be at low. Auto shut off, never. Screensaver, 1 minute. Brightness of the screen, less than or equal to 50%. Low light level should be disabled. You'll know that if it says N/A. And just ignore the date and time settings. Number 6, verify that you have an approved by GoPro micro SD card in each camera. Number 7, eliminate as much of the nearby Wi-Fi and Bluetooth interference as you can. This means your smartphone, your smart TV, and other devices. Number 8, charge your cameras and the remote just before use. And this doesn't mean the day before or a few hours before, but just before use. Number 9, the initial pairing is critical but easy. It's amply described online. But do know that there's a big difference between programming the smart remote and the original Wi-Fi remote. Don't get mixed up with the two or you'll have big trouble. Number 10, put the cameras to sleep after initial pairing and after each photo video mission. To do this, keep the remote control off. Turn the cameras on manually, turn the connections off, retrieve your videos from the card and format the card. Then you're ready to turn the camera off, remove the battery, and send it to your offsite charging dock. Number 11, awakening the cameras for the next photo video mission. Critical steps here. Insert a 100% charged battery. Make sure the remote control just came off the charger as well. Manually turn the cameras on. Turn connections on. Verify that the key settings, number 3, 4, and 5 that I just gave you are still there. Mount your cameras on the airplane, inside and outside. Now, pick a location either inside or outside the plane where you have a good line of sight to all of the cameras with minimal structural interference. And then click on the remote control. Now that remote should pick up all of your cameras very quickly within a few seconds. And you, at that point, are good to go for your video and photo mission. So that's about it. Leave your comments as to whether this workaround works as well for you as it did for me. And if you hit trouble, see the troubleshooting tips in my checklist or shoot me a direct email. Anyway, that's it for today. See you next time. Sting Flight out.